Isn't coursework dependent on the professor? So this was actually in response to a video I did on how PA schools and basically any competitive program prefers that the bulk of your coursework be done at a 4-year institution, not community college and not online. So this person is asking, isn't coursework dependent on the professor? As in, can't a professor teach a very difficult, very high value course at a community college? Why is there such a preference for a 4-year school? So I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I filmed this video 4 times already, and every single time I watched it back and I felt like I was just talking down to people in community college, that I was saying like people who go to 4-year institutions, and especially prestigious 4-year institutions like Ivy League schools, like they're better than people who go to community college. And I'm not saying that at all, guys. So I'm just trying to say this in a way that makes you understand that everyone has value, and that people, no matter what school you go to, no matter what walk of life you're from, what you're doing is important and everything you're learning is important. But at the same time, understanding the reality of some things are more competitive than other things. Some schools are more competitive than other schools, and just the peers that you're with and the professors that are teaching you on average do offer different kind of levels of difficulty of teaching, of coursework, and the most competitive, the most difficult programs do want to take those averages into account and do want to get students who have taken harder classes on average. Okay, so that's going to be my dry, logical way of talking about it. I'm also going to tell you guys a story, okay? And why should you listen to me? Because I've taken classes from literally every kind of institution throughout my life before PA school. So I went to high school. I was not a very good student in high school. I just didn't care, didn't understand why you needed to study. I'd rather just go play video games or go watch TV, right? So I was not a good student in high school. I didn't really give a crap until my junior year. I met this physics teacher named Dr. Z. I'm not really even sure if he was a doctor, if he was a PhD, what the heck, but people called him Dr. Z. He wore a lab coat. He was a weird guy, but he was cool. And basically, I was in study hall with this guy, and he was like, the teacher or, managing study hall. And for whatever reason, I got to talking with him, and somehow he convinced me, a junior in high school who had been getting crappy grades his whole life, who was not in calculus, who was not on the AP track. I wasn't like one of the smart kids. I was just like an average student who just didn't give a crap at all about anything. And somehow he convinced me to sign up for AP Physics my senior year. Why he convinced me of this, I don't know. Why he thought I could possibly handle it, I don't know. Why I thought I could handle it, I don't know. But something about what this guy was telling me, he saw something in me, and something about the conversation with him that day made me go, yeah, I'm smart enough for AP Physics, even though I wasn't. I wasn't smart enough for AP anything. I had never taken AP or advanced anything except for advanced English one time, and I got a D and switched immediately back to normal English. So, I was not a good student, and there was no reason for me to believe that I was a good student, but somehow he convinced me to take AP Physics. And long story short, I got there, I did exceedingly well the first couple of exams because I just fell in love with it, and then, my laziness took over, and then I ended up with a B or something, like an average grade. But I was able to handle AP Physics. And then the smart kids that never really thought I was smart, they were always just like, oh yeah, Boris is kind of stupid. He runs cross country and he plays in band and he's kind of good at trumpet, and that's it. We think he's kind of stupid. And then I was able to handle it in AP Physics, and I actually even got this one extra credit question right that was all about gravity and this fictitious planet that was formed in a ring, and then you had to do all these crazy equations, and I got it right. I don't remember exactly what the question was, but I think the answer was 9.8 something. I don't remember what exactly it was, but it was calculating the year of the length of the length of the year on that planet, its orbit around the sun one time based on something, and it was this crazy amount of equations, and somehow I got it right, and I was like, holy crap, I'm smart. And then, the rest of the year, I was not as smart. But either way, all of that to be said, that I was not a good student in high school. And then I went to college, and when I switched to the whole pre-med thing, I started getting all these prerequisite courses, and I actually went to community college for some of them just because, one, I was poor. I couldn't afford, to take all these classes at college, to take a whole extra half a year or a year, so I went to community college. So I've taken, pre-medical, science-based courses at community college. I've taken them online, and also when I decided to get my grades up for PA school, I did a post-baccalaureate program, 2 semesters at Cornell University, which basically threw me into class with a bunch of pre-medical students who were the tippity top of their high school class Ivy League students. So I was taking courses with these kids that I never ever would have competed with out of high school because I couldn't get into freaking Cornell University out of high school. There's no chance. Like, it's like I think 8 to 10% admissions rate out of high school. And like, no way. So I could not have been an Ivy League student out of high school, but some way, somehow, I got into this post-bac program and ended up competing with these Ivy League kids in these undergraduate courses at Cornell. So I've seen kind of all sides of this equation. I went to a, decently competitive, but not crazy competitive undergraduate institution, RIT, and then Allegheny College. I was average in high school at best. I've been to community college, I've done courses online, and I've done Ivy League undergraduate pre-medical courses. So I've done all of it, and I can tell you that the community college classes were super easy. Just super easy, and I've taken several of them, and the professor was awesome, and the students I was with are really motivated. They really wanted to become nurses. They were mostly on like the pre-nursing track for a community college degree, and the information was good, but there was probably about 20% of the information in one semester as I would get at even just a regular like Allegheny or RIT class. There was literally just so much less information. It was presented much more slowly. The standards were much lower as far as like the labs and like how much attention to detail you had to have and how much work you had to do. It was just less expectations as far as the amount and just like the quality of work and the difficulty of the work. So that's not to put anybody down, but just like there was legitimate lower expectations at that community college course compared to even the average undergraduate school I went to. And then compared to Cornell, it was like on a different planet. I mean, in Cornell, one lecture would cover more information than I probably had in the entire semester in community college. So, and also it was taught by a guy who barely spoke English, and also the track team somehow got the course or the exam from the previous year or something like that, and then the course was graded on a curve. So even though I literally slept no hours and was just killing myself trying to get a passing grade in biochemistry, I ended up with a B+, even though I was doing like A-level work because people were cheating. So I don't know why I just ranted about that, but the point is different institutions and even different levels of different institutions offer much, much, much different difficulty as far as coursework goes. And also the people you're competing with in that class are also different capabilities. So just objectively, this isn't the same every time. Like I said, I've been to community college, I've taken classes online. The people I was competing with in those institutions, and then even at the average, just regular four-year institution compared to the people I was competing with at Cornell, were just different planets. Just different levels of studying, different levels of learning information. And then when most people in your class have a higher level of ability, you're allowed to pack in more information. You're allowed to have higher standards. So that is the reason, not just because the courses are harder or because the professors are more distinguished or whatever, or they have more published work. The reason that Ivy League classes are valued higher than like your average four-year institution, and then your average four-year institution classes are valued higher than community college, for instance, is the people you're competing with are just more academically gifted on average, and that makes the classes more dense. Those people learn more. It's harder. So an A from Cornell is so much harder to achieve, orders of magnitude harder to achieve than an A from an average four-year institution, which is orders of magnitude harder to achieve than an A from a community college. So that is why community college classes can give you a good amount of content. They could kind of check the box for a prerequisite, but the majority of your coursework should come from a four-year institution. Okay? I really, 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 really hope I didn't make that sound in any way like I'm being elitist and like I am putting down people who get an education from community college or who take online courses. Like I said, I've taken a bunch from each. I just do have to like logically put it into perspective why the preference is for four-year institution. And also, of course, like the level of four-year institution also does matter. Okay? Have a good day.